Mr. Transformers 96 here with another video, and we talk about some newly shown Transformers Studio Series figures. This time I'm talking about the Wave 1 of 2020 of the Leader Class Studio Series figures featuring Scavenger / Demolisher and Shockwave. So I've made videos in the past talking about them as we've had a few images, we've had some in-person images, and we've had the kind of render images of them. But now we have the official, actual images of them, because obviously the ones that were shown previously were renders. They weren't the actual figure. So although they had the official look to them, they weren't the actual product. So now we have the actual product here in its official images, and there's definitely a lot to talk about. And we also have in-package images, which is great for scale. So let's get into it. We'll start with Scavenger here. This is the first Leader Class figure that is going to be, contributing part of the Devastator, kind of build-a-figure, if you will, the one that you'll have to buy 8 figures to complete. And Scavenger, I think, looks really nice. Looking at him in package here, first of all, the artwork. I really like the artwork. That's something very unique. We've never really seen artwork like that for Scavenger before, so that artwork looks really cool, I must say. Seeing him in package, he looks like he's quite a large Leader Class figure. As you can see, from his shoulders, they really touch the edges of the packaging, which is really cool. And then with his wheels being kind of collapsed on him, they almost hit the top of the package, and they do stop before the bottom of the package, the actual design down here even starts. But obviously that's because there's a little there's a lip where you're able to display the figure on the little stand that's in here, so that he has the whole backdrop, because it's attached to the backdrop. So overall, of the usable room in this package, Scavenger really fills it, which is great. It's nice to see that he's a good size, because obviously in the film, Scavenger would almost be something larger than a Leader Class, because Optimus Prime just barely holding onto his head just kind of comes down to here. So he's an extremely tall character. So I think that the scale obviously won't be completely accurate. However, I think it is quite good. Going over the images of the actual product here. Here we have him in his kind of scooping truck. Well, I can't remember what you call this type of design, but overall I think it looks quite good. Obviously you have a big open part here. You have some open parts in the back, which is very similar to the Voyager Class 1 that was released for Revenge of the Fallen. But in total I think it looks pretty nice. What's really great about this picture though is I've been very curious on how they're going to do the wheels, because with the original one from Revenge of the Fallen, the way they did the wheels was an interesting, I like the concept of it. It was like a metal pole that went in the center of it, and then if you stretch that pole out, it would take the treads and it would just wrap the treads around the actual pole, because you'd be stretching it out and the treads were rubber. And then if you collapsed it, it would allow the treads to have more wiggle room, and they'd kind of form a circle. So that's how they did it, and I think that it's a smart concept to do that. However, it just kind of it feels a little flimsy after the 10 years that it's been. So it has I worry that it's going to, get damaged and the treads will rip and become misshapen because of just over time and weather and things like that. So I've been hoping that they weren't going to do the same thing, and it's been really hard to tell how they were going to do it. But based on this picture, as you can see, the treads here do not look like the wheels that are on the actual Demolisher, because here you can see it. It doesn't look like these collapse at all to form those treads. And if you see in the center section, there are more tread-like things here. It looks like the wheels are stuck inside the actual figure, or inside the cabin of the vehicle. So that's nice to see. I'm not 100% sure where those treads are going to be stored. The only thing I can think of is that they're just lined up on his shoulders here, the treads. But who knows? So I'll be interested to see more of a 360 on this to really get an idea of how the treads and tires work. But overall, I think they look really cool. Unless you can split these wheels in half and you can actually fold up the treads within the wheels, I doubt that's going to happen. So it'll be interesting to see. But overall, I do think that it looks like a great figure. What's nice is he does have a bicep rotation, which is something that the Voyager Class 1 did not have. So his arms are always kind of stuck in a very similar position. So this one, though, you can rotate it and have him have kind of different stances, as well as it looks more like fingers here and not so much just like the dump truck, or not dump truck, but the scooping mechanism. The original one, it was really just a scooping piece, but now with it being it's almost broken up into 3 fingers, so it looks a little bit more like hands, which is very cool. Overall, very excited for this one. I do have it on pre-order. Now, next up, we have Shockwave. This is one of my most anticipated figures of 2020, I would say. I'm very excited for this. I've Shockwave, I'm a big fan of, really love his design, and I've been wanting a more accurate representation of him for quite a while. And I am, when the official render images were released, I love the sculpt, but I was really disappointed with the paint. And I was so disappointed with the paint that when this went on pre-order, I actually pre-ordered 2 of them, because I was going to repaint one to make it a little bit more accurate and give it more of a gritty feel. And then just like a day after that, after they went on pre-order, they did like some convention and they actually showed these guys in person. And in person, the paint looked totally different than the render paint, and it looked great. So then I decided to cancel one of my pre-orders, so I still have one on pre-order, because the paint is perfect. And getting these official images, it looks like it's the same type of paint that is on the one that was on display, which is great. So the paint looks awesome. Really happy about that. And as we get into more of the out-of-package box images, I'll get into the paint. But overall, I've seen a lot of people comment about how big he looked on display and like compared to the figures around him, and I didn't, like, just looking at the pictures, I didn't really see any kind of solid size comparison. I couldn't find a picture where it really showed him next to somebody so you could really get a good idea of the scale. And looking at him in the package, he looks a little small, to be honest. This is a leader class figure, obviously, and it's a leader class package, but as you can see, like, you compare it to the Scavenger here, who is just jam-packed in that thing. And then you look at Shockwave, and he's got a lot of wiggle room. He really does. He's not close to the bottom nor the top, nor is he close on the sides at all. He looks like a normal, it looks like he's got some room in there. It really does, which is a little unfortunate. I would hope that he is large. I don't need him to be huge, but I do want him to be a decent size, because he should be a little bit bigger than Optimus Prime. He's pretty tall. So I hope that, like, for a leader class Optimus Prime, that he would be a little bit taller than him. But it looks like this might be more in scale with like a Voyager Optimus Prime, to be honest. I mean, I obviously can't tell 100%. I'm just going based on how he looks in the package, but he doesn't look that big, to be honest. And he comes with some extra like little accessories, so I can only imagine they've included those to kind of compensate for him not being that large. I'm not sure though. Artwork looks great on the package though, I must say. Going over his like Cybertronian tank mode, obviously never really used this in the film, so they can kind of do whatever they want with it, and it doesn't really have to be accurate at all. But hey, it looks okay. Like, it doesn't really look like a tank, I'll tell you that. It just looks like a smashed up Shockwave figure. That's really all it looks like. Maybe in person it'll look a little bit more tankish, but yeah, nothing too special. Don't think I'll ever transform this one, to be perfectly honest. But here's the out of package image, and as far as the accessories that he comes with a little wheelie and brains. Now what is it? The rendering look. I wonder if I have a picture. Yeah, here's the render. So as you can see, the little brains and wheelie look so much bigger in this render artwork, as well as they look a little bit more detailed. And then you cut to this, where they are just as tiny as you can imagine. I mean, it'll be hard to even hold those things. So I think it's kind of funny how they really misrepresented them in those images. You can barely even see them. They obviously won't be able to stand unless they come like glued on bases or something. And then there's like a little military nest type of soldier with a parachute, obviously taken from the scene where they attack Shockwave, and they kind of drop down in parachutes, and one wraps a parachute around his head. Not something that I would need. I really don't need human figures with the Transformers. They never really do this either. It's something very kind of unique to this figure, with the exception of the Human Alliance series that actually came with little human figures. They don't, give human figures with regular ones. So I don't need that at all. Like, it doesn't really interest me. I don't think it's going to interest anybody too much. I think that had they took the expense of wheelie brains and the human guy, and then just put whatever they spent on that to upgrade the size on Shockwave like a little bit, even if it's just like a centimeter taller. I mean, I would have much preferred that. I'm sure most people would as well. But just going over the actual figure here, the sculpt is beautiful. I really love the sculpt. sculpt. Have no issues with it, unless he's got like some hollow back pieces or something that I can't see here. But I doubt that's the case, and it just looks perfect. The legs look really good too. Like, it looks like they're perfectly represented. And then the cannon looks awesome. The overall proportions are fantastic. The face sculpt is great too, and the paint just looks really nice. It's got this kind of dark purple to it that has some silver. It looks like almost weathering marks. You can see it with the tank mode for sure, especially in this like a little piece here. You can see that they've added like some silver stress and scratch marks, which I think is really cool, and it also has like a black kind of sprayed into it as well, looking like a really nicely painted figure, a really nicely sculpted figure. Only, concern is the size. However, I think this looks like a beautiful figure, and again, it is one of the figures that I'm most anticipating for next year. I just kind of can't wait for this thing to get released. So I've been wanting it for a long time, and to see them doing it and doing it pretty perfectly is really nice. So there you go. That's my updated thoughts on the new Scavenger as well as Shockwave figures based on their official images as well as in-package images. We do not have official / in-package images for the Voyagers yet, being Megatron and Mixmaster, but as soon as we get those, I will do an update on them as well. So there you go. That's my thoughts on these new figures. Let me know what you guys think of them, and thanks so much for watching.